All right, good morning. Can I introduce you to someone new to the family? We've got a 2008 Dodge Ram 5500 diesel pickup. It's a little bit beat up. This was a logging truck prior to being purchased by me, so I picked this up last week. It's got a 5,000-pound IMT crane on it. It's got a nice Lincoln Electric Ranger 250 welder generator, and then it's got a pretty decent size Ingersoll Rand compressor on the back. So really excited to have this thing here. That's a 200 psi compressor, and then this truck itself is pretty set up. These little guys on the sides open up and allow for tool storage. I can get this open for you. So these are all the way across both sides of this truck. You've got these things that go all the way down, and then these drawers pull out, and they're 4 feet deep. So let me get one of these guys out. Crap, that one's full of like heaviness. So yeah, these are real thick. It's 1/8 inch steel. Each drawer is made out of that, and they're all welded together. They're all heavy duty. So these ones have big compartments over here, and then those ones have smaller dividers both inside of the drawers, so it's pretty neat. We've got this Harbor Freight 3-in-1 tool here. It's a slip roll, press brake, and shear, and has a 30-inch capacity, and I've never used it. It's sat on here, and I threw some casters on the factory crate bottom like that, but you can see that the one down there is blown out, and so I can't actually roll it very well. And I'd like to actually use this for some projects. I've got the thing, and I might as well start using it. So we're going to build a stand for it, put that thing to work. I think you see my point here. And to make this thing happen, we'll be using the little Lincoln 140 MIG welder, and then the Certiflat welding table, and yeah, it should be going great. Excited this will be the first project this fine table is going to be used for, and I bet it's just going to really help my efficiency. So we want to make this stand. Typically I would just wing something like this because it's pretty straightforward. The first thing you want to figure out is about how high off the ground you want to work with this machine. And I think for this, I decided that about the base of the stand I'm going to have to where this is currently in height off the ground. So basically, I'm going to measure this height and record that. So we'll say that's 29 inches. And then once you put casters under it, it's going to be that much taller. So I'm going to say stand 29 inches tall. Okay, so that should give me a decent working height. It's not like you're going to be using tons of force on this. This thing's not going to be doing real heavy work. Next, you want to take some basic dimensions. So for this, I'm basically going to measure from here to the other side, and I come up with 32¼ inches, exactly from one side to the next. So 32¼ I'm going to write that down. That's going to be the top of the stand. So 32¼ inch. I'm just going to draw a little rectangle here. And then we want to take the other measurement, the other side, And here I get 14 1/4. I'm also going to measure the other base, the other side of this machine, to make sure that's the same. They're not always. So 14 1/4 works here. So 14 1/4. And we're going to be using 1-inch square tubing, 1/16 of an inch wall thickness, and it's not real heavy, but this is not a very heavy tool here, so that's going to be just fine. Alright, so what I've got are those same pieces of all thread that I used to help clamp down this table when I was doing the assembly. And this is a crude version of what I'm going to be making for this, because I'm going to make some nice machine pins for this to do quick layout. But here's the deal. Since all these holes are accurately spaced, you should be able to drop a couple pins in when you need to do an assembly like this and square up corners. So right now I need to do a 90-degree. I'll bring the camera over here. So I wanted to do this quick 90-degree setup. All I did was I dropped these guys perpendicular to each other, and then I just shoved the material over here to get any slop out of this, because these pieces of wall thread are just slightly under the size of the diameter of these laser cut holes. And then I do the same thing here, and I just make this tight, I make this tight, and then now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my square, I'm going to put it inside of here, and we're going to see how straight it is. So just verify that this is indeed an accurate way to do it. And it's right on the money. So you can take a look here. So we got the square. Sorry, it's tough to get this camera in here. But we've got the square in here. And this was just a quick sanity check to make sure I was on the right page. And we're nice and square. So if you guys are wondering, you know, what's the purpose of getting a nice welding table like this? Well, this is it. It's for doing quick jigs and setups, so you don't have to do everything the hard way. So yeah, this is awesome. So what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to get the welder hooked up really quick. We're going to do some tacks on here and get this thing started.
Down, so I'm just going to kind of hold it in place. 2 little tacks there. Get on the inside. Good. So that's tack.
Okay, so I've kind of skipped forward a little bit without you guys, just to kind of make this video keep moving. So here's where this table's really going to start coming in extra handy. So I got the base. The base is now 16 inches plus 2, so it's 18 inches wide, opposed to the top, which is 14 1/4. Using these same pins here as kind of like a guide. And then I'm going to tack this in place.
Okay, now I can go ahead and do the other side. I'm just going to move my pins over there. Now you don't need 3 of them, you only want 2 because that way you get a perfectly straight line between your pins. Make sure you guys are in the camera's view. You are? Okay, good.
Okay, so now we've got some gussets we're gonna weld on here to reinforce it. What I'm doing is I'm sliding one under as a spacer, and then I've got the second one that I'm actually gonna weld here. So it's gonna offset at a 1/4 inch so I can get a nice recess on there from the other side, and that'll allow me to lay down a weld easier with less grinding. So that's tacked in place. Now, this is 1/4 inch steel, and I'm welding it against 1/16 inch. So you're gonna wanna keep your puddle on the 1/4 inch piece and just barely get into the 16th so you don't burn through. So, see if I can do that successfully. All right, so I've got the factory bolts, like I was saying, that bolted this press down to the crate that it came on. I've drilled holes in here to where these need to mount. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and cut these off to length, and I'm going to weld them in place. So these are actually going to act as a stud instead of being a bolt. This is going to be just welded down to the base here, and then we'll put the nut on. So yeah, that's the plan. Figured I'd show you that really quick. I'm gonna do some cutting here really fast. The porta band, get these down to length. All right, now it's time to just tack these casters on here. These are probably going to be temporary. Main goal for this is just to be able to get it in operation quickly and be able to roll it in the really compact shop. like it. That was the main goal right now, just to get this thing moving. You can obviously tell my shop's a mess. I don't know if I've got any sheet metal, believe it or not, to test this with. I don't really do a lot of sheet metal work, but I'd like to. Well, here's a thin piece, probably some, I don't know, 26 gauge or something really small. Let's do something with this really quick. Try to get the whole thing in the camera. This is some really light gauge aluminum. Quick little 90, and how about we shear that off? And this is exactly how it came from the factory, so I'm sure. Oh, and wouldn't you know, the 90 broke off. Aluminum, depending on which, I guess, alloy it is, can break. It'll stress break like this, so it's not always possible to do it. You might be able to mitigate the cracking by preheating. Let's take a look. So we did a shearing operation really quick. That's a really clean cut. So yeah, very nice. So if you got to do some thin stuff, I think this is going to be awesome. Typically breaking this, I think steel is going to work better than aluminum. Some of you aluminum sheet metal guys can probably pitch in your opinion on that. Yeah, that pretty much is snapping this. So you go to do the 90 degree on that, and see that stress fracture, which basically makes this thing worthless. So what you can do, shear it and then TIG weld it together. Maybe we'll do that in a later video once I make that welding cart for the TIG welder I just got. Anyway, hopefully you found this video somewhat useful. What I'm gonna do is eventually paint this. I'm gonna add some holders down there to hold sheet metal scraps, and then I'll end up putting some heavier casters on there. And also, when using this machine, I don't think that you're gonna want to have it on casters, because it's gonna move when you're trying to bend something heavy. Also, you'll pretty much want to bolt it in place or add a bunch of weight to the base. Otherwise, you know, if you really reef it on this thing, it's gonna probably go flip over or something.